Hey, what's up? This is Chosen. Going to be a Raid Shadow Legends video going over the new Prism shard. We can finally see it in game and get a look at what's going to be happening here for the first summon pool event with these new shard mechanics. So I want to give you my thoughts on what I kind of think is going on so far, and then when we see it in game tomorrow, we'll be able to do more of a deep dive discussion. But I want to keep you in the loop as to what to expect with the Nyresian summon pool event based on what I can kind of see so far. Let's get into it. Okay, so first of all, when we look at this shard right here, we don't really have full information yet, but what we can see is that we have all of the colors of all of the different shards and different affinities combined. You can see very distinctly. For my eyes anyway, the colors that stand out to me are going to be green, blue, and then purple up in the top there. There's very distinctly purple. Now, I don't see a ton of red standing out, but they're obviously going to be including force affinity if they're including magic and spirit affinity. So what I'm kind of guessing is that these shards are going to have all champions in the pool, regardless of affinity. It's not going to be segmented into non-void and void. I think for these events, you're just going to have all of the champions in the event in this shard that you can pull, because they're showing the shard with very clearly the different affinity colors, including purple for void. And it looks like this event is going to be going on for a full week, and it is going to be during CVC. We have a CVC starting on Tuesday, and it says here from Monday the 17th to Monday the 24th, there's going to be a special event featuring the first time using these shards around the Nyresian Union champions. And if you're not familiar, the Nyresian Union is going to be the newest subset of factions where we don't have the fourth one yet. But we got the Dwarves added to the game, I don't know, maybe about 3 years ago. Shadowkin about 2 years ago. And then Sylvan Watchers probably like just under a year ago. So we've been getting like one new faction every year. I would guess in 2024, we're going to get the final faction here for the Nyresian Union. So I'm thinking what they're going to be doing is a pseudo 10x event where it's not going to be all the champions of the game. It's going to be more niched down into a certain subset. They'll either use these prisms to like target one specific faction or one specific subset of factions, and right now they're going with the Nyresian Union here as the first one. So what you're going to do is you're going to get like all of the legendaries and the epics here from the Dwarves, combined with all the legendaries and epics of the Shadowkin, combined with all the legendaries and epics of the Sylvan Watchers, and that's going to go into a separate event, a separate summoning event where all of these champions are thrown into a pool together. And so when I went through here and counted really quickly, between like all of the legendaries, the non-void and the void, I was getting 32 legendaries that can be pulled from shards. You have certain legendaries that were part of promotional events or certain things in game that can't be pulled from shards, like Ninja, for example, cannot be pulled from a shard, and it does list this in game. If you back out and you go into the portal and you click on the little eye right here, it'll show you the different champions that cannot be pulled, and you see here in the following champions cannot be summoned from any shard, you have Ninja listed right here. So there's certain ones that can't be pulled, so it gets a little bit complicated to kind of keep track of it, but by me going through here and counting, I was coming up with 32 total legendaries in these three factions that can actually be pulled from a shard. So I think what this means is, let's say you really want a Yumiko, so you want to get enough points to be summoning during this Prism event. You would, if you got enough points to summon a epic or legendary, and you did get a legendary, you would have a 1 out of 32 chance to get Yumiko, which is about 3.1%. And again, I don't know if they're going to like require more prism points or whatever to do void pulls, or if it's just all going to be in one pool with the voids and the non-voids, which I kind of think, because they've got the shard showing all of the colors, including purple. So that would mean if you have like 4 or 5 champions that you really want, it would then definitely be better than a 10x, and it's also a different pool than the normal like sacred and ancient shards and all of that, so you wouldn't be spending those same resources, and it would scale to be a little bit better than a 10x if you have multiple champions that you're really seeking. Because usually when you're pulling during a 10x event for non-void champions, it's about 6.5%. Like if you, like let's say there's a 10x for Kymar and you pull a non-void legendary during a 10x for Kymar, you're going to be about 6.5%, give or take some decimals. You'll be about 6.5% if the legendary is pulled that it will end up being Kymar during that event. And if you're pulling during a void 10x, let's say they're doing a 10x event for Acrisia, and you really want to pull Acrisia, again, I'm going off the top of my head here, so give or take a little bit, but I believe it's about like 16 or 17% chance that if you pull a void legendary during a 10x void event for a specific champion, it'd be about 16 or 17% that'll end up being that actual champion who's part of the 10x that you wanted. And that's if there's only one champion featured in the 10x. Obviously, it's going to get a little bit different, a little bit more convoluted if there's multiple champions in a 10x. If they're doing like a Kymar plus 3 other legendaries that are featured in the 10x, it's going to throw it off for sure. So it's going to be interesting. I think, you know, what you would want to do for an event like this is go through and ask yourself, how many legendaries would you be super excited to pull that are actually part of the pool? As you can see right here, if I went through and I was like, okay, I would really be excited to get Brogni, Newt, Tormund, Acrisia, that's 4. And then if I go into Shadowkin, I'd be really excited to pull like Yumiko, that's 5. Maybe Riho would be, and Harima, that's 6 and 7. And then if I went into the Sylvan Watchers, I'd be really excited to pull, you know, the new one here, Lady, that's 8. And then Elva, that would be 9. So I would say, okay, I would be excited to get 9 out of the 32 options. Well, 9 out of 32 is going to be about 28%. So that means that this 28% would be way superior than anything you're ever going to get during a 10x event and one of these legacy summoning events around like ancient shards and sacred shards and stuff like that. So you'd have to kind of go through and ask yourself how many of the pulls would super excite you, and then we're going to have to weigh our options based on how we acquire these points and what's going on with this Prism Shard event and how difficult it's going to be to actually do these pulls. I'm sure they're going to be having different ways in game for us to earn some of these like Prism Crystals that we can put towards doing pulls at this event. And I don't know exactly how they're going to structure it. Like if you're going to have to choose, do you do an epic pull? Do you do a legendary pull? Or is it all in one pool? And it's like a 90% chance to be an epic and a 10% chance to be a legendary. Do they combine the voids and the non-voids? We have a lot of stuff we're going to kind of see and learn this week. But I think it's going to come down to how many champions in the pool you want and how tough it is to acquire these pulls. And we also can't save them for future events because Plarium did make sure to put the caveat down here of Prism Crystals are required to summon champions from the Prism Shard. When a summon pool event ends, any remaining Prism Crystals will be used automatically and summoned champions will be sent to your inbox. So they are not going to let you save up. They are very cognizant of the fact that players love to save up fragment champions to help them in future champion chases and future CVCs and stuff. So Plarium is making sure to have this caveat of forcing you to spend your crystals during the Prism event that is going on right now and not saving up to do 100 pulls when you've got a chance to get an Acrisia or a Siphi or something. But they are going to let you save the remainders. So let's say it takes like 30 Prism Crystals to do a pull, but you've only got like 12 left at the end of the event. They are going to let you hold on to those 12. They're just not going to let you hold on to like 300 and save up to do 10 pulls in a future one. And I think it's probably going to take 30 to do a pull because down here at the bottom, they say also to celebrate the start of the first ever summon pool event, we're giving everyone who is level 30 or above a special summon pool gift, and it will be available for a week and contain as many as 30 Prism Crystals. So I think they're going to give everybody like an introductory pull and give you 30 Prism Crystals to go ahead and participate in the event. So it's probably going to cost somewhere around 30 Prism Crystals to do a pull from the Prism Shard. And then when you spend those 30 Prism Crystals, there's going to be some sort of odds of getting an epic or a legendary of all of the combined champions of those factions and of those affinities. So you'll have to really go through and ask yourself how many of the epics you want, how many of the legendaries you want, and then you'll get a percentage breakdown of how likely you are to have a positive outcome based on every single pull that you do, and ask yourself, is it worth it to do a certain number of pulls to get a certain champion that you're really going after? So it's going to be a pretty crazy week in Raid. They have never introduced a new shard mechanic or anything like that to the game. when the game was released, it had mystery shards, ancient shards, void shards, and sacred shards, and now they're adding this prism shard with all of the different colors here of the different affinities in it. So it is definitely going to be an interesting week because it's the first time we've ever seen something like this happening in Raid. And remember to subscribe down below because I will definitely be breaking this down for you tomorrow to kick off the week when we've got the actual event in game and we can see exactly what is going on here, and we'll be able to really break down if the event is going to make sense for you or not based on what champions are the most sought after in these different Nyresian Union factions. So I appreciate all of you. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you soon in the next video. Peace.